Hi guys, welcome to Bible Breakdown. We're doing 2 Samuel chapter 11. So in the spring there was a moment where all the kings went out for war, and David sent out Joab and his officers and all of Israel. It says they destroyed the Ammonites and they took over a place called Rabbah, but David, he stayed in Jerusalem. Now this chapter, from here on out, I was side-eyeing David because it was like, and honestly the Lord was side-eyeing him too, and you'll see why. So David, he gets out of his bed, he goes on the roof, he takes a little stroll, and he sees this woman bathing. Now, this woman apparently was a very beautiful woman, so he asked somebody, he's like, can you please tell me about her? So the man replied to David in verse 3, he says, isn't this Bathsheba, daughter of Eliam and wife of Uram the Hittite? So David gets somebody to go get her. They go get her, she gets brought to David, and David sleeps with her. And honestly, at this point, I have no idea where David's other wives are. Man's got like 4 or 5 wives already, but okay. Part of verse 4 and 5 says, now she had just been purifying herself from her uncleanness. Afterwards, she returned home. The woman conceived and sent word to inform David, I am pregnant. So David, he's thinking quick on his feet, and he sends a message to Joab, and he's saying to send Uriah back to him. So Uriah, he gets sent, and David, he's asking him all these questions, like how's the troops, how's the war, and then he tells him to go back home. Verbatim, he tells him, go down to your house and wash your feet. So Uriah, he left, but he actually didn't go home. It says, Uriah slept at the door of the palace with all his master's servants. So David hears about this, and he's like, why didn't you go home? Like, why didn't you sleep with your wife? You were at war this whole time, and you didn't decide to go home? And Uriah's like, well, everybody that is working the war isn't sleeping in their bed, so it's not fair for me to do so. Yeah, it says, my master Joab and his soldiers are camping in an open field. How can I enter my house to eat and drink and sleep with my wife? As surely as you live and by your life, I will not do this. So David, he tries again. He insists that Uriah, he stays for 2 more days. He's like, stay with me for 2 more days and then you can go. So then David, he gets him to eat, he gets him to drink, he gets drunk, and Uriah still does not go home. He lies out where he was before with the servants. So David, he sends a letter to Joab. This is so cruel. In verse 15 it says, in the letter he wrote, put Uriah at the front of the fiercest fighting, then withdraw from him so that he is struck down and dies. So obviously David has thought this through. He's like, I'm not about to get caught sleeping with this man's wife. So it's either he goes to sleep with her and then act like the baby that she's gonna, birth is his, or this man's gonna die. So this man is gonna die. So Joab does exactly what David asked, and he puts Uriah where the best enemy soldiers are. Verse 17 says, then the men of the city came out and attacked Joab, and some of the men from David's soldiers fell in battle. Uriah the Hittite also died. So Joab, he sends somebody to give a message to David about the battle and what's going on and who died and all that. And he says, if David gets angry about how this all played out, remind him that Uriah has passed away. So the messenger, he goes out to send David the message, and he says, however, the archers shot down on your servants from the top of the wall, and some of the king's servants died. Your servant Uriah the Hittite is also dead. So instead of David acting, upset, he says, say this to Joab, don't let this matter upset you, because the sword devours all alike. Intensify your fight against the city and demolish it. Encourage him. So David, he sends words of encouragement to Joab and the troops. And then Uriah's wife finds out that Uriah died. So it says she mourned about the death, of course. And after she was done mourning, David takes her as a wife. He was very quick. So the last 2 lines say, oh my goodness. Where's my light? I guess I was taking too long. But the last 2 sentences say, she became his wife and bore him a son. However, the Lord considered what David had done to be evil. Which is very true. Mans went after somebody else's wife, and then he kills the man after he gets the woman pregnant so that he doesn't get caught. David. But that's all I have for y'all. I love y'all. God loves y'all more. Have a great night.